This is a quick overview of the geography of the Gospels. It's always important when we're reading the Bible to understand the context, and a helpful way to do that is to look at a map in order to understand the richness of Christianity and what it was like in the time of Jesus. So Jesus lived in the Holy Land, and the size of the Holy Land is about the same size as modern-day New Jersey. The Holy Land is located just east of the Mediterranean Sea, in between Egypt and modern-day Syria. And this has contributed to why it's always been a place of political unrest, because it's in between these two fertile areas along the Fertile Crescent. And just based on the land and who's in power, it's been a place of political struggle, of power struggle. When we're looking at the Holy Land, it's helpful to look at the bodies of water as a landmark. So as we mentioned before, there's the Mediterranean Sea, and in the northern region of the Holy Land, there's the Sea of Galilee, which is actually a lake. And south of that, in the valley, is the Dead Sea, which is actually Earth's lowest elevation on land, at about 13 to 1400 feet below sea level. And its main tributary is the Jordan River. Next to the Dead Sea was the region of Judea. So this is the southern region of the Holy Land, and its landscape was pretty dry and barren. Above that is the region of Samaria, which was populated by descendants of the northern Israelites who intermarried with the Assyrians and other foreign nations. And in the northern region of the Holy Land was Galilee, which had fertile hills watered by the Jordan River and the Sea of Galilee that was amenable to farming and shepherding and fishing. The most important city of Judea was, of course, Jerusalem, and Jerusalem was Judea's religious, political, and financial center. Near Jerusalem was the city of Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, and Bethany, where we find out later that Jesus' friends lived, Lazarus, Martha, and Mary. And in the northernmost part of Judea was Jericho, and this is how many of the Jews entered into Judea because they wanted to go around Samaria. Now going back up to Galilee, there's Nazareth, which is a small town where Jesus grew up, and above that, Cana, which is where Jesus performed his first public miracle. And then around the Sea of Galilee, there's these small fishing villages, Bethsaida and Capernaum, where Jesus lived and called his first disciples. And it's important to note that Jesus called disciples from all over, even Decapolis, where there were the Greeks. And of course, with the parable of the Good Samaritan, to overcome the racial divide between the descendants of Israel and all the other people, the Gentiles. And finally, these three places where Jesus demonstrated his humanity and divinity: Mount Tabor, which was where the Transfiguration happened, the Mount of Olives, where Jesus prayed the night before he was crucified, and the wilderness of Judea, where Jesus spent 40 days before beginning his public ministry.